practicing Buddhism without to know.
Okay.
What do you think about it? Maybe.
Yeah, so let me answer one by one. Okay, so there are three ways of doing. Okay. One way is yoga. It works. And another is Buddha Dhamma. That works. And then there is another way called as non-dual, called as Vedanta. You've heard about that. In the West, it's famous as non-dual. Okay, so now we need to understand all the three of them in its completeness, in its experiences, in its applicability, all the three. So we'll take the first one, yoga. So Patanjali is the prominent among all the gurus who created this yoga. So there are four stages which you can do. And then comes under that, many people after that came Babaji. Okay. And Babaji created something called as Kriya Yoga, which is what Yogananda, he has written a biography called as what's that, about autobiography of a guru.
Yogi.
I was reading.
Yes, autobiography of a yogi by Swami Yogananda. So, and his teacher is Yukteswar Giri, and then his teacher is Lahari Mahasai. So if you go by that tradition also, there is an opportunity to get into Nibbana. So Nibbana can be reached from yoga, Nibbana can be reached from Buddha teaching, and Nibbana can be achieved from Vedanta. All the three. Okay. Now, which is the right one, which is the long one, which is the straight one, which is this one, that one is up to the debate, right? So now let's understand what really happens. If I choose yoga, what really happens? I need to have, like, if you take a battery, you have a positive, you have a negative on one side. So you have a Shiva on one side and Shakti on the other side. The Shakti is down and Shiva is on the top. So somehow the energy has to move from down to top. Okay. So if we take yoga, the objective of yoga is to make this energy to meet, merge. They are separated. So what do you mean by separation? The separation here is that I see the world the way I perceive it, and it is not real. So let's say when I look at all the four of you, I immediately recognize that you are these people, and this is where you stay, and this is what you do, and etc., etc. And then I come up with an opinion. Whereas when we merge the Shakti and the Shiva, that goes away. So that merger brings in a Dvaita, which is non-dual. And what Buddha does is that he makes it as Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankhara Vijnana. So the personality goes away. When the personality goes away, it is easy to disassociate and then get the experience which is faster. It is straight than the yoga. That doesn't mean that yoga doesn't make this happen. It makes it happen, but it's a long path, number one. Number two, most important, you require a capable teacher. Okay, that means that teacher should have experienced everything. So when I say I've had a Kundalini awakening, it means that I should have experienced it, and then I should know how to make that Kundalini experience to another person, and that person should get it. I just cannot fake saying that, you know what, I get an electric sensation and all that. That's not going to help in any way. So the objective of the yoga, in whichever format it is done, from Kriya Yoga, then you have Sahaja Yoga, you have so many different kind of yoga. Yoga is union, basically. So you unite the lower energy to the higher energy. Okay. Generally, the energy centers are 7, and when it comes here, it brings in the dazzling light. It's so dazzling that even if you sit in the dark, you literally can see everything in that room. So, and second is that with the closed eyes, you can see everything. So you really don't have to open up your eyes. Number 3, you can see what's happening here. Also, you can see what's happening everywhere. So what's the problem with that? The problem with that is you get stuck with these achievements. So you will not get Nibbana, because you are now associated with all of that which is happening. So now I see, you know what, I can read your mind, and then I start looking at you and I'm reading your mind, and I waste my time in reading your mind, and I'm reading Owen's mind, I read Malti's mind and Preeti's mind and this mind and that mind. And in Samanapala Sutta, Buddha says that one of the achievement is that you can read others people's mind. So the yoga and the Buddha teaching, what's the difference is there are 3 major differences, which is indicated in the Tevijja Sutta, 3 Vijja, that means 3 knowledges. The first knowledge is you get to know all the rebirths, okay, all, without leaving anything. In the yoga, you get in 2 parts. One part is, if the mind is completely pure, you get every life's. 2 is you get partial. You don't get the full one, a complete one, because the mind is still having defilements. So it doesn't really bring that up. That's the first one. Second one, beings arising and passing away. This in yoga also you can do it. You can see the beings coming, and you can see how they are leaving their body and from this place where they are going. But they can't see all the realms at once. This is a second, but it's possible. I'm not saying it's not at all possible. The third one is not possible. That is asava khaya jnana. That is not possible, because that person gets stuck. That means if I'm looking at vimukti in the yoga, it's difficult. Not that it is impossible, but it is difficult. Okay. Now we come to the Vedanta portion, which is non-dual. It's a very easy, comprehensive, very nice in terms of 3 states. So if I compare the Buddha teaching and if I take the Vedanta, Buddha says that mind starting is excellent. Then if you take Vedanta or non-dual, it is excellent. The starting point is excellent. Both exactly matches. It's not about one copying the other or whatever. That's a philosophy, it's working. Then the middle, it gets murkier, it gets confusing in Vedanta. In the middle, it's perfect in Buddha. There's nothing to add, nothing to delete. So he says, my starting, middle, and the end, all the 3 are excellent. Whereas if we take Vedanta, starting is excellent, middle is confusing, but if you're able to pass through it, ending is excellent. So if we take the yoga, starting is difficult, middle is excellent, ending is you have to find out your way. So if we put all the three of them and exactly see, you get the Buddha teaching, which is starting good, ending good, middle is also good. Okay, now where the defects are coming. So the defects are coming from not able to understand the Upanishad, which explains everything basically. But there are so many Upanishads, and that means you have so much of information that it is physically impossible for one person to know everything and create something and then say that this is what you require. This is what Shankaracharya has done in his non-dual, that is Vedanta, and he has done it beautifully well. So if somebody were to cross the middle one, the starting and the ending, it works. The problem is that people get stuck in the middle. They really cannot come this side or that side. They get stuck in the middle. So if we look at that, the underlying technology or the underlying the scientific way of solving the problem or a theorem, both in the yoga and in the Vedanta, you don't have the theorem. On what basis do you want to try this out? It's not there. In the case of Buddha, you have a theorem. So he says that if this were to happen, and that is going to happen, and if this doesn't happen, that is not going to happen. So you have at least that theorem. In these two, there is no theorem. Number two, what is a great of Paticca dependent origination, is that it's not about a 12 link, it is about a theorem itself. It says very clearly how this comes into existence and how by observing it, it gets into cessation. Whereas when we come to the yoga or we get into the Vedanta, in Vedanta the technique is there, but the Paticca is not there. That is, how do you establish that connection and how do you come out of the connection is not there. In the yoga, it is not at all there. It goes by a different analogy and different system. So if we are following Kriya Yoga, Sahaja Yoga, that yoga, this yoga, what you could do, what the person can do is that he can reach the Brahma realm of existence, but can never cross over it. Meaning he cannot get a complete vimukti. That's not possible. That means complete liberation is not possible unless he does something about it. Okay? Here you require a guru, a teacher who has exactly cut it off. I'm not saying there are no teachers at all. There are. But it's difficult to find the one who can teach you, if you are stuck here, what need to be done. So if you look at the Visuddhi Magga of Buddha Ghosa, it suffers the same problem as yoga. The Kasina meditation, what Buddha Ghosa informs, is exactly the same as what Patanjali informs, that you need to create something to establish a connection. But the moment I establish a connection, there is no way to disconnect it. Let's say now I am having a Patavi kasina. I make it out of mud, and I make that color, red color, and I start watching it on the screen. And I keep on watching it like this. And I close the eyes. And then what should happen is exactly what is there has to get imprinted in me. So when I close my eyes, and I should be able to see this is my symbol, I need to have a counter sign of that symbol. So this is a sign and it's a counter sign. Then if I do the Patavi Kasina, then I need to do Apo Kasina, then I need to do Tejo Kasina, then I need to do the Vayu Kasina, then I have to do Akasha Kasina, then I need to do Red Kasina, then I have to do Yellow Kasina, then Blue Kasina, then White Kasina, like that. Now when I do Kasina, what happens? I'm stuck. I'm stuck with the colors. I have to give up. Nibbana is after giving up that. So I'm stuck. This is the same problem in yoga. you will get stuck with the, either you take breath as one thing or colors as another thing, or you take the kasina, that circle disc creation, as another thing. You get stuck. In the Vedanta, the Vedantic meditation doesn't go by this. The Vedantic meditation goes by two. One is that you have a savikalpa. What it savikalpa means, self-imagine. You imagine something and keep on bringing it up to your mind stream without allowing any other thoughts to cross over it. So you keep on cutting the thought and bringing this here. When you do that, you get it established. So what it means is, the same kasina in the Buddha Gosa and the same kasina in kind of kasina in yoga is this which we are bringing. But the second one, that is nirvikalpa, that means you don't have any imagination, which is what the Buddha is all about. So there's nothing to imagine. There's no ground on imaginations. It's perfect experiential. So then you first imagine, drop the imagination, and then go to the non-imaginative. And that is where the four arupa jhanas are anyway. So you have the akasha ananchayatana, then you get vinyana ananchayatana, then you get akinchayatana, then you get nevasanya nasanyayatana. This four was there before Buddha. It is there in yoga, it is there in tantra, it is there in Vedanta. So all these four are there. But in the yoga, going there is difficult to the arupa jhana. You can go to the rupa jhana easily. But in the Vedanta, you can go to the arupa jhanas. All the four arupa jhanas you can master. Absolutely not an issue. If somebody wants to get into arupa jhana only, I love arupa jhana and I want to be reborn in arupa jhanas, of the four planes of arupa, you can do Vedanta. You don't have to go through Buddha teaching at all. You don't require to know anything about anicca, dukkha, anatta, or paticcasamuppada, or anything at all. So you just have to know how to achieve this. But the fifth one, or the ninth one, which is sanya vedata nirodha, that is not there in any one of these two. So what is the difference between the yoga philosophy and the non-dual Vedanta with Buddha is, Buddha provides step-by-step instructions on how to get disentangled from entanglement using paticcasamuppada. Whereas in the yoga, it is a long route. I'm not saying it is not possible, it's a long route. So you need to do two shuddhis or purification. One is the bhuta shuddhi, which is the 5 elements. Another one is the chitta shuddhi, which is the mind. So you need to literally cleanse. So the Sadguru, who is now the most famous teacher, teaches about how to do bhuta shuddhi, which is good for people who have gross, who are literally gross. When they see themselves, they see themselves. They cannot see anything other than that. So then the Sadguru way of doing it is really advantageous for those people who cannot practice chitta shuddhi. So it's better to go on the bhuta shuddhi through Shambhavi mudra, through various kind of mudra and mantras and all that, because that purifies the 5 elements. Unless the elements are purified, the chitta shuddhi will not happen. That means the defilements in the mind can never go without letting go of the 5 elements. No matter how much Dhamma I know, but I cannot let go of these 5 elements. Without letting go of 5 elements, Nibbana is not possible. So I need to let go of 5 elements. So now which one should I choose? If I'm very gross, yoga is the best thing. I don't have to go through Buddha teaching at all till my bhuta shuddhi is clear. So if I'm going to Sadguru for learning, absolutely fair. There's nothing other than going to Sadguru is going to help. Now, that is not my thing. I have known how to do bhuta shuddhi or the purification of the elements. Then what I can do is, I can come to the Buddha teaching, wherein the main main focus is not on the bhuta, it's on the chitta, the mind, the light falling on each one of these objects, and how do you remove it? So you have Kayanupassana, the Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana, and Dhammanupassana. Only 4 Anupassana, and that's it. There's nothing else at all in Buddha Dhamma apart from these. And in each one of them, you have the Patisamutpada cycle and the 4 Noble Truths. So then you are not missing anything. So Mahasati Patthana Sutta is sufficient for you to get into Arhat also. That's one single one. That's it. And that's the reason he says, Ekayano aham bhikkave maggo sattanam visuddhiya soka paridevanam samatikkamaya. So what he's saying is, this is the one guaranteed path for all beings who would like to have Nibbana as their main focus. There's no other area, which is 100% true. But if my mind, for some reason, is hooked up onto the Bhuta Shuddhi or Bhutas, that is, when I see a person, I get attracted by that image. Or if I see myself in the mirror or here, and I get attracted, wow, what a nice looking face I have, then this is not going to help me. I need to go to the yoga, because that helps. That 100% helps. There's nothing in that to say that no, I don't like it. There's nothing about liking or disliking. My mental state is that I still recognize myself as Vilas. When I see this body, on the outside I might say, look, I don't recognize and all that, but internally I still recognize. It means that Buddha teaching is not making any sense to me. So I need to keep it in pending, go and purify the elements and come back to Buddha Dhamma. That's the best thing I could do for myself, rather than fooling myself saying that, look, I know so much of Buddha Dhamma. I might be knowing a lot about Buddha Dhamma. That's not an... But if I'm seeing myself in this video, if I'm attached to it, then it's a problem. This is what I need to be checking for myself. I'm not talking about any one of you. I'm talking about myself. What is I'm seeing? I'm not seeing it as Rupa. I'm not seeing a Vedana. I'm not seeing a Sanya. I'm not seeing Sankhara. I'm not seeing Vijnana at all. I'm just knowing it by theory. Oh, there's something called as Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. These are called as Panchapadana Khanda. That doesn't mean that you're not a Sotapanna. You are. That means you're not going to go to the apayas. That means you cannot stop rebirth, but you will not be born lower realm. That's all what a Sotapanna means. Nothing else other than that. So it's not a big deal or a small deal or whatever. As a Sotapanna, I have established in such a way that I will not be reborn down. So if I follow the yoga, I can still reach Sotapanna. If I go by Vedanta, I can still reach Sotapanna. I might not call that a Sotapanna, that is separate, but you will never be born into the apayas in all the 3, if practiced properly. So whether you have followed Kriya Yoga earlier, or now you're following Buddha Dhamma, what you can 100% assure yourself is that you will not do any stupid action which will take you to the apayas. That is not possible. At the time of your death, nothing will change in a way that you will be reborn in a bad existence. That will never happen. That will never happen to me. That will never happen to Owen, or that will never happen to Preeti, or whoever it is, and all the people who have understood the Dhamma, whether it is through yoga or through Vedanta or even through Tantra. There are so much of in the Tibetan Buddhism, you have Tantra. Even through that, you can become a Sotapanna without any problem. So Sotapatti Phala is not an issue. But what about Arhat? That's an issue. Even Anagami is not an issue. Arhat is an issue. So if our focus is Arhat, yoga is not going to help. If our focus is Arhat, Vedanta is not going to help, neither Tantra is going to help, because only Buddha Magga can help. There's no other which can help. This is a whole story about what will work and what will not work. So in yoga, if I'm following it properly, Kriya Yoga of Yogananda or Lahari Masai, or if I follow Yukteswar Giri or anyone or any other yoga, including Sadhguru, let's say, I will save myself from going lower, number one. I can even become a Sakadagami without knowing it is called a Sakadagami. But Anagami, not possible. In the current context of the Yukteswar Giris, what has got modified, not the original text, what was there, or the teaching, what was there. What has got modified, that will never take you to Anagami. And irrespective of whatever it is, you will never get into Arhat. That's for sure. It's not a Arhat Magga. It doesn't cut the condition. It only extends the condition. That means I can be reborn in a place where I don't have to come back to this world. That is possible. 100% possible as an Anagami. So it doesn't matter through Buddha teaching you're going in Anagami way, or a yoga teaching you're going in Anagami way, or you're from Vedanta you're going in Anagami way. Absolutely fine. And that guy, that person might not even know anything about Anagami, might not even know anything about Sotapanna, Sakadagami, or any one of those words. But he will land, the mind is going to land exactly at the same place what Buddha explains. Okay, now the question comes, did yoga copied from Buddha, or did the Vedanta copied it from Buddha? Now we have to answer it in a different way. If we go through the Indian philosophical system or the Indian spiritual system, it's more than 10,000 years old. And if you go to the first Buddha, he was 25,000 years plus. And at that time also these systems existed. So it doesn't mean that, okay, when that first Buddha was there and this was not there. At that time also this existed. So that has been coexisted. And it never had anything like this is yours and this is mine or something like that. That identification also was not there. So that means the samana. So there are three maggas. So we have to look at that. The first magga is sasattavada, which means there is a creator, there's a God, and there's a creator, and the creator has brought us here. And if the objective is to know the creator. So Buddha also, that is Gautama Buddha, he followed the same thing. So he says, anicca jati sansaran sandhavisan aninbisan gahakara gave santo dukkha jati punapuna gahakara dittosi punageham na kaha asi. So what it means is that he started searching who is the manufacturer of this body, who is the manufacturer of this mind. That is the sasattavada. That means I keep on searching for the person who created me. What were the circumstances on which I was created? So this is called sasattavada. Then the second one, which Buddha and the Jina, that is Jain and all that, they follow, is called as samana. Samana means that one who puts effort. So this is the second path. It was there even before all the Buddhas, not only this Buddha, it was before all the Buddhas, it was there. The third one is the Uchedavada. Uchedavada means annihilation. They claim that after this body is gone, there's no rebirth, there's nothing, you're done. So you enjoy, do whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. There is no karma, there is nothing called as deeds. Good deeds will get good results, bad deeds will get bad results, nothing like that. So now if we were to connect these and say that, oh, you know what, did Buddha teaching came first before these traditions came, or the traditions came first and then the Buddha and the Jain, the Jina came? The answer is they all coexisted. So what's the contribution of the Buddha? And he explains that in his 6 years, what did he do? They were following the Nigantanatha Putta, which is nothing but Jain. So they were torturing the body. So Buddha also tortured his body, and he found that it's not yielding him anything. Right? And there were people who were going around the things, believing that God is going to take care, so I should not be doing anything. So that's the reason he says Kama Sukhalukanu Yoga. That means people who are totally sensually bent upon, and they believe that it is going to take care by itself. It's that route is also not okay. This route is also not okay, where you literally torment yourself. And the middle path doesn't mean that you take this half and that half. It's not like that. The middle path is the Four Noble Truths. So that is how he finds it. So the advantage of the Buddha is that he found he discovered the Four Noble Truths. That doesn't mean that it was not there earlier. It was there. He only brought it up again. Whereas in the other two cultures, even today, it's like that only. It is not changed a wee bit. You'll find people who pray to the God saying that, hey God, whether it is a Christian doing it or a Muslim doing it or a Hindu doing it or a Jew doing it or whoever is doing it, they all go to the church or to the temple or to the mosque or somewhere, and they say that, hey God, you are the messenger of God. Now I have done a sin. I have told a lie, and I have slandered. I have done this. Maybe I be pardoned. And then the priest will come and say, hey, my child, in the name of the Christ, here you will be relieved, and that's over. Same thing in the current Hindu religion, and also in the Muslim. So this is the Sasattavada. That is, there's some creator who is going to take care of us. We don't have to do anything. It's the creator's problem, not my problem. Whereas the Buddha teaching is the center. So in the center, you get three people there. One is the yoga, or rather four people there. One is the yoga, one is the Vedanta or the non-dual, one is the Buddha, and one is the Jina. These four people. Out of these four people, Buddha stands out because he has steps. Whereas in the Vedanta, the last step is missing. If you get the last step, the middle one also becomes excellent. In the yoga, it's a difficult path, even though it has 8 limbs. It's called Ashtanga, 8 limbs. So it goes by morality only. So just like what Buddha says on morality, yoga also follows morality. So you have yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. These are the 8 ones. So what it really means is that you have yama means rules, niyama means regulation, asana means posture, then pranayama is to know where your breath is going, and then pratyahara means is to give up. Just like what Buddha uses a special word called nekkhamma. That's exactly what this pratyahara is. You give up. Don't go behind the sensual. So you give up. Then dharana. You take that object. Dhyana. Get into this jhana and dhyana. They both are same. Pali word is jhana. The Sanskrit word is dhyana, which is to make your mind focused on something. So now you are in jhana. You can have first, second, third, fourth jhana. Here they don't talk about first, second, third, fourth jhana. It is only dhyana. Then samadhi is the same. What Buddha talks samadhi and this samadhi, they both are same. Now where the difference is, the 9th jhana, 9th samadhi is not there. Or the 4th one, where you get equanimity, is difficult in the yoga. But the other forms of yoga which came later, they modified it to make sure that some of the gaps are filled up. So the Kriya Yoga is the nearest one where you can go up to the Brahma realm of existence. But then crossing that, meaning giving up that, is difficult. So what happens? If the person dies in the Brahma realm of existence, he will become anagami. So there's no problem. Absolutely fair. If my what I can say, if my interest is to be an anagami, I can choose basically any path. I can choose the yoga path, I can choose the Buddha path, I can choose the Vedanta path to reach anagami stage. It's exactly the same, but in a different way. But the straightforward direction is not there in the other two, but you can find it out. If you put in enough effort, you can really find it out. And you can do it. Where? So it's there. So since you have learned Kriya Yoga, and Owen also has learned something on yoga, there's nothing wrong in doing that. Even if you were to do it, you'll reach anagami stage for sure. But Arahat is not possible unless we come back to the Buddha path. So why do we go there and come back again? It is better to be on Buddha path. That's a very simplest answer we can have to reach the entire. So let's say in this time, in this part of this world, we don't have teachers. Now what should I do? Where should I go? In that case, Buddha is the best teacher, because you can do it yourself. Whereas in the first one, yoga, you require a qualified teacher. In the Vedanta, you require a qualified teacher. Now where on earth can I find the teacher? And the scripture says that when you are ready, Guru arrives. That means the teacher arrives. Now I am ready. Then I see any teacher is going to come. When is he going to come? When is he going to come? Then what should I do? Keep hunting. What Buddha says is not like that. He says, if you want me, you see my Dhamma, that's all. And what is my Dhamma? Anicca, dukkha, anatta, patisamutpada, that's all. Nothing more than that. You don't have to learn the whole universe of things. Just have to experience these four. If you are experiencing these four, Udaya Vyaya Jnana is going to happen. And when that happens, the remaining knowledge also will get. You don't have to really focus on that. It is an automated process. So in that way, Buddha teaching is the only one which requires no teacher. The only problem here is on the Pali in interpretation and all that. That's the only little bit of issue. But otherwise, it's the most easiest. Now, if I go to the non-dual, it's nice one. But you require to have a strong hold on Sanskrit. Otherwise, it's not possible. So fortunately, I know both. I know Pali and Sanskrit. So for me, it is good. I can read basically anything and I don't get confused with any one of them. But then I feel for others when they read and they get so confused on what needs to be done, where I'm stuck. Like there was one guy in London and he is following Sadhguru. So he and I have been talking and I told him that why don't you ask Sadhguru to explain this? Okay, and he has not come back. I've given him an assignment and there ended the matter. So it's been 5 months since that we have not spoken. But then I didn't have any way to explain to him that how Sadhguru can help him, because I have not personally met Sadhguru, nor I have gone to that place and did what he's saying, and I don't want to do it also. So there's no point in fooling myself that I want to do that. I don't want to do it, because when I've got the direct path, why should I go through an indirect path? It's not required. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It works, but it's a long process. Buddha teaching is a straightforward and short process. There's nothing like I need to go here and there and do that. Good question, Richard. I think I gave you a complete, not allowing you to ask any further question also.
No, it is very good. Yeah, I was watching some video from Sadhguru, but I think he is not really, he explained Buddha Dhamma wrongly.
Yes, he does. Completely distorted.
He take the Hindu expression of Buddha Dhamma.
Correct.
They believe that Buddha is not an incarnation of Vishnu.
Right.
So I don't like his explanation now.
Absolutely. See, the problem is like this, Richard. If I don't know something, I should say I don't know rather than giving an explanation which makes it even more funny.
Yeah.
So there is one interview you can search on the YouTube. It's a very funny one. He shouldn't have done that. There is one lady who asks, somebody asks that, or he himself says that if there is a twin and the mother, the child, one child is a girl and another child is a boy, the mother breast, the left one will give one milk and the right one will give another milk. That means the son will have a different milk and the girl will have a different milk. It's impossible. So somebody, I mean, if at his level, he should speak something which comes in his mind. He should really know the subject. Otherwise, he should say, look, I don't know. What I know is what I know. Right? So if he's good at yoga, he should only deal with yoga. He should not talk about Buddha Dhamma or something else and give some explanation which will be so absurd because it doesn't match and he doesn't even know what it is. Forget about matching. See, you should at least know what it is rather than getting yourself in trouble. So he gets entangled into so many unrequired controversies because he gives statements which are untrue. So he is doing all the akusala dhamma. Basically, you're not supposed to do any one of those. See, you're not supposed to do lying. He's lying. You're not supposed to cheat. You're cheating. You're not supposed to do a slandering. He slanders. Then you're not supposed to do harsh speech. He does harsh speech. You're not supposed to give, what is that? You keep on talking something nonsense. And that he does. Right? You're not supposed to dance, sing and all that. And that he does. So if you look by all the Dhamma characteristics what Buddha has put, he does exactly the other way around. And yet he claims he knows Buddha Dhamma, which is totally false, fabricated, and it's not required. So since he is a public figure, there's no point in he doing so many things. He's good at what he's doing. It's good. You do the Bhuta Shuddhi or the elemental purification, which you know how to do it. Just do that. If somebody asks you, do you know Buddha Dhamma? You just say, Buddha is a great person, but I have not learned it as of now. If somebody asks me, do you know Sadguru? He does these things. I don't know. I cannot defame Sadguru. I can only talk from his video what he's done and what not done. But I have no idea on Sadguru. So I cannot be talking something nonsense about Sadguru, knowing that I know everything about Sadguru. That is wrong. So I will be doing all that. I'm doing lying. I'm doing slandering. I'm doing harsh speech. I'm doing nonsense talks and everything. So all that I shouldn't be doing. Dasa akusala. I am doing all the dasa akusala. There's no point. If somebody asks me, I should say, look, I don't know. If somebody asks me Goenka, SN Goenka, and the Vipassana, I can't give a feedback which is going to create a controversy. Rather, it works. It works, but it doesn't take you here. That's all I can say. But I can't say, no, that doesn't work at all. That's not a right place to go because I've personally have experienced it. It is good. So what is good, I can't say it is not good. So it is once we start learning this, we need to know that we can't go beyond what we know. We should always stick to what we know. It's better, safer, so it's non-controversial for myself because I'm adding more dust to what I shouldn't be putting For others people, it's okay. But why should I put dust on myself and then struggle to come out of that dust? Yeah, so what you say is true, Richard. He talks something on Buddha which is untrue. And this, coming to this, the 9 avatars of Vishnu, I'll give you a very scientific thing. I'm not saying that it is part of the Buddha is part of the Vishnu or whatever it is. The meaning of Vishnu is, its Anu is atom, V is world, Vishwa. So it's an energy which is there everywhere, and that's called Vishnu. It is not about a what I can say, a depiction of somebody standing like this and somebody standing like that and all that. That is not at all the meaning of the term Vishnu. Okay. Now, when we look at that Vishnu, normally it is shown in blue. In Indian iconography and Indian sculptural thing, generally 4 colors are broadly used, and that is what even Buddha talks about: red, yellow, and then blue and white. These are the 4 basic colors, and that is the color what is used in the Hindu iconography and the sculpture. Now, it comes to it comes to Vishnu. What really happens is, whether you take Krishna or you take Vishnu or you take Rama, like that, each one of these, they depict in blue. What it means by blue is there are 3 stages. So first stage is ignorance, avidya. That also is blue. So let's say I have a burner, a gas burner. There are 3 basic colors which are shown. One is yellow, one is red, and one is blue. So the blue one is a flame which cooks the food evenly. But that one doesn't know, and that Buddha calls it as vijnana, B plus jnana. It doesn't have the knowledge that what it is. So it's avidya. Then there is yellow color which gets heated up. So if we look at heating, the body is heating, or anything yellow light, it heats up. So it's heat. Then you have scorching, pricking, that is red. So when we look at the flame, you get 3 kinds of flame: blue flame, yellow flame, red flame. A red flame keeps on coming, and if you put something, it just burns it. Whereas yellow flame will make it hot, and the blue flame evenly cooks it. Now when it comes to vidya, that means knowledge, the same blue flame becomes equanimous. It doesn't go this side or that side, which is what it is evenly cooking, and it knows. So the vijnana goes back to chitta state, which is lighting, without any discoloration or getting caught up in so many things. The yellow flame and the red flame both are gone, meaning the raga is yellow, the dvesha is red. They both are gone. Now what remains in the first one is moha, that blue flame. Now that moha is transformed into vidya. Okay, so in the Hindu iconography and the sculpture, normally Krishna, Rama, and all of this Vishnu, because Vishnu is the energy, they depict that in blue color. Clear? And Buddha is one such individual who is pure. Now, whenever they added Buddha as part of the Hindu iconography, they made it again blue. So what happened is Vishnu is blue color, and all the 10 of them are now blue color, including Buddha. Okay, and they made it as a Buddha avatar. Avatara means that incarnation. So now the question comes, does Hindu Dhamma believe in incarnations, or they believe in rebirth? Like if you look at Tibetan Buddhism, they believe in reincarnation. They don't talk about rebirth consciousness. They talk about the Dalai Lama coming back in another body, in another body, in another body, in another body. Now we have 14 Dalai Lama, right? Which means reincarnation, the same individual. So it became what now? It became the self, the soul, which Buddha was saying that there is no soul. And these people brought soul back, right? So now the depiction of the 9 avatars is to say that it is pure consciousness, and the consciousness is always depicted in blue color. So that is the thing about iconography and sculpture. But over a period of time, the iconography got replaced with physical features. And then they started saying that, okay, then Vishnu, and Vishnu is there, then it this one, this avatar, and that avatar, that avatar, that avatar, and now you have Buddha avatar. Then after that you have Kalki avatar. There are 10 avatars of Vishnu. That is fabricated. It's not true. There's nothing called as an avatar of anything. That means after this goes away, that will come, and after that goes away, that will come. No, that is not true. So what has happened over the period of thousands of years, that this has stayed after the Buddha, after 10 AD, 10 CE, common era, is that it got incorporated. So from 10 CE to 1496 CE, this completely got entangled, nowhere to separate out. So if you were to go through history and look at each one of these scriptural references, initially there is nothing like that, and after that it is modified. So now when what we read is a modified version. So from 1490s onwards, everything is little bit more here, there, fabricated. And after the Tibetan, that is after the 3rd century to the 14th century, 8th century, 8th to 11th century, before Bhaktiar Khilji came, the Nalanda University had all the scriptures of everything. They didn't have a separation. So when Hyun Sang was here, Vasubandhu is the teacher. He made a very nice system called as Yogacara. You can search it on net. It's a beautiful book, if at all you are able to read it. So it's called Yogacara system of Vasubandhu. So the Tibetan Buddhism, or the Mahayana of the Tibetan, which is called Vajrayana, rely on 4 sources. One is Nagarjuna, one is Vasubandhu, one is Atisha, and one is Milarappa. And there are so many other people, and the original one is the Padma Sambhava. So Padma Sambhava is called as Guru Rinpoche. So the whole tradition has come from there. And the Guru Rinpoche is also called as the second Buddha, who is got enlightened totally. So basically, the Nalanda University has everything. So the fabrication, if we were to use that word, were completely fabricated before the university was burnt. And after that, everything has got here and there muddled up. So you really cannot say this portion belongs to this and that portion belongs to that, because everything is some way or the other combined. So it became part of Vishnu. Okay, so there have been a lot of controversies around this, surrounding that, whether Buddha is the part of Vishnu or not and all that. But even today, it is believed to be part of Vishnu. Okay, but since the meaning itself is not known to most of the people, what's the meaning of Vishnu? There's no way to explain and say that, look, it is not part of Vishnu, because there's nothing called reincarnation at all. There's nothing gets reincarnated. And if it's a pure consciousness, and that's it, there's nothing like they come back. There's nothing to go and nothing to come back. That means either the Rama and the Krishna and all these people never attain Nibbana because they're coming back in different forms. Like we are coming in different forms, they are also coming in different form with a very good strength than us. Like the Devas, they are better than us. So we can call them as a Deva, but we can never make the blue color and say that, look, they have completely eliminated everything. If they have, and they can't come back. Yeah, Owen, I think for you it is should be boring on the morning of Monday.
No, it's not boring. It's just different information. That's interesting, I suppose.
Okay, because for your early morning we are talking something which is too much of information for you. Okay. Okay, so any other questions, Preeti and Malti? You want to? Okay, my experience. So you wanted to know about my experience. Okay, so now this is how it happened. The previous night. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'll tell you. The Anapanasati, I'm going deeper into it. I'm observing like the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, where he says that he gives an example of a person who is rubbing the wood. He rubs the wood and it makes it long and short and short. I think you would have gone through in Mahasatipatthana Sutta. 3 days ago, today we are Monday, Thursday, I think so. I was observing it. It's in the nose, and instead of that tree cutting, I thought, let me apply Mahasatipatthana Sutta. Okay, and I was looking at whether this also works the same way, and it worked. So if I were to watch the breath, I can see it like, somebody is rubbing it. It's long and short, and it turns. So there's a turn there. So able to observe the turn, how the breath turns back and comes out and completes a circle. So it's a circle and gone, and the next circle and gone, and the next circle and gone. So I'm able to see that. So that day what happened especially is that if I were to tell this whole story, or do you want me to compress and
Whole story.
complete? All of you? Or I don't want to put this poor chap to sleep.
Yes. Complete story. We don't sleep.
Otherwise you don't sleep. Okay. So what happened is that around 3 o'clock, I got a question here. Okay, let me answer to him later. 3 o'clock, I actually do some healing. So the day before, or on that day only, I had gone to a person, and her mother, she is in her 83s, and she has a lot of pain. The pain of the what I can say, knee, and there's a pain of she has got a frozen shoulder, and the blood flow is very slow from the lower limb to the leg. What I generally do is I get to see them. I get to see what is happening in the body. Okay, and wherever there is catch, I can see in the people. So when they come home or they ask me to do it, I go to their home and I touch, and I can feel where the problem is, and I try to do some healing. That by basically rubbing on it, or just touching, or from above I touch it, so that they feel the energy movement happening. And in some cases, if the blood is stuck somewhere, I can move the blood like this. So the blood starts to move, and that pain goes away from that part of the body, because if the blood is holding, and then they have a problem. Anyway, so coming back to that, I did it. She was okay, but I came to know that it cannot be cured. I mean, I cannot do anything except that I need to do it for half an hour, then she can walk for 10-15 minutes, and after that again she gets exhausted, and again she cannot walk. So I'd asked this lady to find out from her mother what she felt, and I came back and slept. And after I slept 3 o'clock, a weird thing happened. There was one girl, around 25-year-old, and they had put her on the ice because her body is burning and she's put completely nude, because if they put any cloth on her, she keeps screaming that I'm getting burnt. I cannot tolerate these clothes. So ultimately the family and the doctor, they decided that, look, there's nothing we can do. If she feels shameful or we feel something, we can't do anything. So we had to make her sleep, and they put her on the bed. It doesn't work out, and then they put her on the ice. And somebody called her father, the girl's father, informing that there is one person who can cure, if you can call him. And then that person calls me and he says that, why don't you come to this hospital? My daughter is having this problem. Can you do something? And then I go there to the hospital. A very surprising thing happened. When I go to the hospital, I don't see the girl. She's sleeping nude and she's on the ice, but I'm seeing it like a thermal, meaning only the radiation, heat, and how the blood is flowing and what is happening I'm seeing. So I take I ask the nurse, get me some water. And she says that, okay. And then I take it in the hand and then I put it on the body. And it comes with some sounds because of the burning, that water is being sprayed. And then after some time, the girl stops her shaking. Her shaking slows down, and she starts to shiver. That means the body is now able to feel the cold. Earlier, that ice, even though she's sleeping on the ice, this one, like the morgue one, she is not able to feel it. And now she's able to feel it. Then I tell the doctor that I think it's somewhat better. So why don't you put back the clothes on this girl and we'll see what happens. And then she gets up, the girl gets up, and then her parents give her the dress. She goes to the restroom, she wears the dress and comes back and sits, and nothing happens to her. So the parents and the girl are very happy that this thing has happened. Then I open my eyes and I see everything like that, meaning like a thermal. So infrared kind of thing. And then I'm able to see how from my body the energy is dissipating. This entire thing is dissipating. It is dissipating from here. The table things are dissipating, and you know, every thing is dissipating. And I see the window and this one, and I'm able to see everything. And even in between that, one of my cousin, he sings. So he had put his photograph, and as another friend of mine, they both have met. So I just remember them, and I see them in a flame, meaning in the thermal, where there's red and yellow and violet and green and all these colors. I feel very fascinated. I think that I'm dreaming, but when I get up from 3 o'clock, I'm awake and I'm seeing everything in that exactly the same way. So it was very alarming and very chilling, and also very exciting. And wow, what is... And if I do anything, it is the same. It's not going anywhere at all. And I'm feeling worked up also. Then I thought, anyway, every day I go for a walk. So I thought, let me go for a walk, and then started going. And in the road, I started to understand what is Rupa. With using my own body, what is Rupa? Because I'm able to see everything as is. And I'm able to see how this body is converting the fuel and burning it and burning it. And that Mahatanha Khaya Sutta really brought tears to my eyes. That, wow, what an explanation he has given, and what I'm seeing is the same. It's exactly the same. He says eyes is like your heap of wood, and when you burn it, this light will come. And not about the eyes as such, but this whole thing I'm able to see. So then I started to think, okay, now this is Rupa. Vedana happens. Vedana means what happens in Vedana. So now if I have to have equanimity, I need to have this exact state as it is. If it changes, then I'm going to get a sukha vedana if I see the object which is good looking, or a dukkha vedana if it is bad looking. So I started looking into that. So now this is upekha, where my mind is not going this way or that way. It's perfect because I'm not getting any interest on anyone or anything, because whatever I'm seeing is the same. There is absolutely no difference between a human being and a wood and a paper and the walking path what I have taken in the park. It's all the same. Then the sanya. All along my sanya was that there is a person and X and Y. Now this is not there. This is anicca sanya, because I can see how everything is passing away. So it's arising and passing away, and I'm able to see that. So I'm able to see that if this is coming like this, and it's coming and coming, it's via Dhamma. So I don't have to convince myself that I need to understand via Dhamma. I'm able to see it. What more is required? Then the sankharas. I understood how these choices happen through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and all the 6 of them. So it's very happy. And vijnana. That consciousness, you know what happens? When I start to think, this whole portion, including the heart portion, becomes red. So I'm able to see how the blood flows. And because the blood is flowing, the energy is here. When I eat, the whole stomach becomes red. I'm able to see it. Wow. So this is what has happened, what I've eaten. And I can see how it is burning inside. Literally, I was feeling, wow, this is exactly what is happening. In each part of the body, this is what happens. So it made me feel very dispassionate of everything. It was literally nibbana. From 3 o'clock, or rather 3:30 till 7 o'clock. It's beautiful. And never had such a thing in my life. Yeah, you wanted to say something?
Oh no, I was stretching my arm.
Stretching your, okay. I thought you wanted to say something. Okay. So I never experienced something like that at all. Even though of these many years of Buddha Dhamma, I have never ever experienced. So it was a real good experience. That now that changed. That is Saturday when I had this experience. Then I came online. I searched on internet because I knew that there's something called thermal. And I searched the YouTube and I looked at it and I sent it to all of you. That's saying that this is exactly how we all are. So I searched one video, if you had a thermal eyes, what would have happened? And really, and out of the spectrums, so it starts with the radio spectrum, then you come into microwave spectrum, then you have an infrared spectrum, then you have visible light. Like that you can go till gamma. So if your eyes don't have that, but at all you get it, it's fun, because now you can see the perception changes. So all along the perception was one thing, now the perception is another thing. All along the Vedana was one thing, now it is another thing. That means depending upon the clarity or the clearance of the mind, your perception also changes. So the perception changes. What will you call then? There is the Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana keeps on changing and arising and going away. Even if you want to call it as impermanent, that is okay. But it keeps on changing. So the sense perception, eyes and ears and nose, tongue and the body and the mind at that time was totally different than what I had afterwards. Meaning, after 8 a.m., it became normal. I couldn't see that again. Now I had to sit in a jhana and do it, but that was natural. I didn't have to do anything. just do like this, and it's like you're taking a thermal camera and going around. It was good, but it's still okay because now I can go on YouTube and I can take the thermal camera and whatever, and I can see it and I can mentally do it again. But that experience and seeing through a video are two different things. But since I've experienced it, I feel the same thing, but that was good. That was original, meaning it just happened. Yes, go ahead.
Do you know what is the cause for this?
Yes, I do know the cause of this. The cause of this is that there are three causes, if I were to put that. First cause is that the day before what I did was having a very nice effect on that lady what I was doing, or the same day or the previous day. Okay, the way I was trying to heal her was totally different than what I generally do healing. So that was the first cause. And the second cause is the deep contemplation of what I was seeing in her body. I'm like, the few weeks ago I was in my hometown. There my aunt, she is now 80 plus, and she is having problems. So my cousin and myself, we went to meet her, and she's not able to get up. So I told her, you give me your leg, let me feel. And when I feel, I can see that the blood is very slowly flowing. I can feel that. Like my father-in-law, when he was dying, 7 days before my father-in-law died, he was sitting here, and then he was feeling very uncomfortable. So he wanted me to press his leg. So I was just massaging his leg. And I told my wife, your father will not be there beyond 1 week. And exactly after a week, he died. Okay, so I'm able to get that information. But due to doing that, of deep contemplation of the body, what I was seeing, it would have manifested that way. And the third one, the breath, what I am doing through the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, that helped. So I think all of these three has become the cause for this. Now, why it is not there permanently or there, I'm not in that samadhi, or even now while I speak, is because of the defilements. I have defilements. That means I have not reached till Arhat. That I know for sure. Okay, and that is where I want to go. I at least want to reach there. But Anagami stage, that also I am able to clearly see how Anagami works. So I am able to see which stage I am in and what I am doing and where the defilements are. So if I were to put it straight, honest, out of the 5 hindrances or about the Nivaranas also, I got complete clarity on Saturday. Now if I put the Nivaranas, the Visikicha is not there. Okay? Udacha is there. And that's the reason I cannot get it back. There is high amount of restlessness. Then I don't have Kukucha. But I have Midha. I don't have Thina, but I have Midha. Then I have Kamachanda. It's a very, what I can say, subtle, but yet it's there. So what I was thinking that I have reached Anagami stage is not true, because it still is there. Subtle, not that I have a very great deal of Kamachanda there, but Vyapada is not there. So now I need to see how to remove this small defilement of Kamachanda, which will then give me that result of Anagami. And then this is going to work, because at that time it was not there, so it was working, and some defilements went in, closed it. So I need to keep on working. So Saturday gone, Sunday gone, Monday gone, not come back. The solace is I saw it, but the worst part is I'm not able to get it back. I want to see all of you in that way. I'm including myself. Okay, now it's all burning. Then the fear of death is not there, because there is nothing to die, nothing to be born, because it's only the energy moving out and all the time. There's nothing else that is happening. So there's no kamachanda and vyapada, thinamida, udacha, kukucha, visikicha. Now we'll come to the nivarna. So if I were to see, I have abundance faith in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and that's the reason I'm able to see this. So again, visikicha is not there. Then the sila vitta paramasa, that means rites and rituals, it's not there. Then I have already let go of the sakkaya ditthi, that is not there. Then I have what I can say, kamachanda vyapada. These are two things. Vyapada, I have not sure. It's completely gone, because I'm trying to search for it. When this happened, I'm trying to search. So let's say subtle amount of kamachanda vyapada is there. That means I'm sakadagami. Okay. If I remove the kamachanda vyapada, then I'm going to get anagami. Then you have 5. So out of that 5, Ruparaga is there. Aruparaga is also there. Avijja is also there. Mana is also there. Udacha is also. It's very clear indication that I am very far away from being an arhat. Very far away in the sense, it's possible, but I have to work out even more than what I'm working. But the good news is, it's going in that direction. The bad news is, what I thought I am has still not reached. And that's a fact. So that made me feel even more humble. Oh, okay. It's good that this has happened. It's clarified. Otherwise, I would be doing a mistake of feeling that I've reached till here. And I'm not. But I know I'm almost there. But almost there, and there is a gap. So I need to work it out. So all along, I thought I'm an anagami because I never faced these conditions. I never faced a situation. But when this came, then I felt, wow, still a small, it's there. Very small, it doesn't come out. In a gross sense, it's not coming. But in a subtle sense, it's there. So this is all about me. This is a story. But the bad part is I'm not able to stay in that state.
I am interested in the when you start to meditate, then you can see the result.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What the meditation is doing. But when it happened that you get insight without doing nothing, what is the cause?
What is the cause is that your mind is stilled at that moment. See, now your experience of anatta one day, you don't have to do anything. Like I was not doing anything on that bed, right? I was not sitting in any meditation posture or doing anything. But the mind was completely stilled. So that means the perception and feeling had stilled down. So if we wait, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just watching TV.
That's okay.
I didn't know 1 second before that this insight happened.
Right.
Oh, and what was this? What is the cause that such an insight naturally from itself happened?
No.
What is the cause?
Yeah, there's only one cause for yours and mine. The one cause is that your mind, whenever it gets stilled, It's shaking like this, and now it gets stilled. You get an insight. But the problem is that it will not stay for a long time. It will again start to shake like this and it goes away. That is the problem. Like you are watching TV. Now what made that happen is that while watching TV, your mind became blank for a second or a minute or whatever it is. For whatever reason, 1 second before, 1 minute before, you never had that. That shaking was there, suddenly stopped. When it stops, immediately the insight happens. And after that it goes away. Like I can give you another example, very straight, same example like yours. During the COVID time, what I used to do is that I never used to go to the park. So my wife used to say, if you want to walk, you walk on the road. So on my, outside my apartment, there's a nice road. So I used to walk. One day, what happened is that while I'm walking, I'm contemplating on the oneness, ekagata. After some time, I'm seeing like everything resembles me, meaning I am in everyone. You know, that just came and left. After that, I never had it. But in that moment, it was anatta. There's no self. It was such a nice experience. But it's the smallest experience. Couldn't have it. So now you might ask a question, what's the cause of it? The cause of it is that you have contemplated somewhere, and during that time, when there is a gap, this filled up and it stopped everything else. Now why it is not there? Because again the mind started to shake. It's shaking like this. So if you have looked at the Anapanasati Sutta, after the Kayanupassana, he goes to Chittanupassana, where he says that you have to calm the Chitta. So on that day when you are watching the TV, your mind was calm. For whatever reason, but it was calm. So it happened. The experience happened. And it is a vivid experience. That means it is not false. You know you had experienced. But the problem is you don't know how to go back to experience, because now it is muddled up with so many things. So the meditation or the samadhi, sama-adi, is to put that state again. So for that we need to remove the defilement. So when we start removing the defilements, come back to the state what you had experienced, and you can remain in that state. That's the whole point of it. It will happen. What you've seen is correct. What that day you explained to me is also correct. It is what is the nibbana is that when you cessation of everything, and when you feel that nothing exists and you yourself don't exist anymore, and that is perfect nibbana. There's no other state. If you are able to stay in that state, you're arahat. I have to just say, Richard, I am your student.
Sorry. No, this is no. I think you are speaking here, remove the defilement. But I have no tools to remove them. Like I am working with my hand, here. In the mind, I don't really see the defilements. It's when I would see it, then I would remove it immediately. What I find very good on Buddha, that he saw the cause he removes it immediately. But when you don't see the cause, you cannot remove it.
No, the cause and the condition are only two. If you go asava, pachaya, avidya, that means the asavas, which are the defilements, are the cause of avidya. And avidya, pachaya, sankhara. These are the two steps, right? Now what you need to do is, you are saying, what's the cause? For that not to arise, what's the cause? So you put the formula. If this is there, that will happen. So what is there? If avidya is there, and that will happen. Asava is there, that will happen. Avidya will happen.
Yeah, but I mean, he was asking himself, how can I go out
Yes, that's correct.
of this suffering? And then it opened to him. He see the cause of suffering, and immediately when he saw the cause, he removed it.
Correct. So there is one sutta, Richard, where he explains before his awakening and after his awakening. If you read that sutta, you'll get an answer how this happened to you. Whatever experience happened to you is explained there. And there is one sutta, I'll share that with you. On that sutta, you can go through it. He says, before my awakening and after my awakening, he explains what's the difference. Okay, and why it did not stick earlier. Meaning he had lot of visions, but why it could not stay? What was the cause? And how did he remove it? And after his awakening, what change did he find? He explains both. It's a nice sutta. I will share that after our call, maybe tomorrow morning. I'll share it with you. You can go through it, and when we meet up, we can discuss on that. But it is there. There's always a cause and a condition, and there's a cause and result. So for me to happen something, there's a cause. The cause is very simple. For this to happen. So if I put that formula, when this is not there, what is not there, when the shaking of the mind is not there, then that ceases. What ceases? All the defilement are stopped at once. But it's a temporary one. Again it starts, because we have not cleared, or I have not cleaned up fully. So I need to keep on watching breath and doing that, because that day what I saw, from the breath to everything, this whole thing is going away like this. And not only for me, it's for all the same. So that's anicca. You can see it as a dukkha, to think that that is mine, because it's going away. And then there's no self there. There's nothing to call myself in any given direction I could see. But let's say I'm able to experience that all the time. What happened? There's no defilement. So it doesn't change it. Now the defilement is there, and hence I'm not able to see it. Right? Now I need to practice. What is the practice? To remove the defilement. So out of the 10 akusala, something is the one which is holding on to it. So to remove that. When I remove it, it's going to be same experience whatever I have had. You might have it in a different way, but this is also a good experience, and that is there in the Samannapula Sutta. At Arhat, he gives 7 of them. But he doesn't talk about Anagami or Sakadagami or Sotapanna. He doesn't talk about that. He talks about a person who is an Arhat. And the fruit of ascetic life, he talks about an Arhat. He doesn't talk anything prior to that. So, but we are still in the prior. So our defilements hold on to that or stop that experience.
But when I was reading the Sutta of Enlightenment of Buddha, he didn't experience Sotapati Sakadagami.
No, he didn't.
He just jumped to the Buddha.
For that reason, now he says why it happened to him. He became Samma Sambuddha for what reason? Because he became Samma Sambuddha for one reason. Is that his paramis were perfected in numerous lives. So what he says is that nobody can become a Samma Sambuddha. What he says is that you don't have to become a Samma Sambuddha, but you can become an Arhat. So the difference between an Arhat and a Samma Sambuddha is Arhat has defilements, but it doesn't make any sense of the defilement because it is totally, the ground is clean. Whereas in the Samma Sambuddha, the defilements itself don't exist. Forget about having little or this or that. So there was one Arhat who used to play with the water is there, he used to throw the stone and he used to make that land in. So the other people go and complain to the Buddha saying that this person believes that he is an Arhat, but he is playing like this. So he says that the Vasana impressions are still there. It will not go even though he is an Arhat. So he will be playing with that, but he doesn't mean anything about it. Look at Angulimal. He's become an Arhat. But all defilements were there, right? It's not that. But in the case of Buddha, he has never killed anyone. He has never done any harm to anyone. He has never done anything to anyone. So the 10 paramis are 100% done. So if my objective is to become a Samma Sambuddha, then a previous Buddha should tell me that I will become a Buddha by so and so time. I need to keep on practicing that till the Buddha comes and says that, look, you are now ready to become a Samma Sambuddha in this life, which, and in that life it manifests.
There is one point when I am a little bit confused, because Buddha is somebody who finds the truth by himself.
Yes.
When he meets the previous Buddha, also he knows from him already everything.
Yes, if you read the story or that is how it is connected. If you look at all the Buddhas, you get so many Buddhas. It's not only Gautama, the Buddha. Buddha is a state of mind. It's got nothing to do with anything like that. But anyway, coming back to this subject, is that Buddha tells this person, Sumedha, saying that you can become Arhat. And he says, I don't want to become an Arhat. Tell me whether I can become a Samma Sambuddha. And he says, at this time, you will become Samma Sambuddha. So till that time, you keep on practicing. And he takes so many lives to get there. Now there are many versions of it, and some people say that is fabricated, it's not true and all that. But in the Buddha's own words, he says that he did not invent, he only rediscovered it. He brought it back from things which were unclear. That's the reason he says, Chakkum udapadi, jnanam udapadi, panya udapadi, aloko udapadi. What it means is that Chakkum udapadi, the eye arose. Jnanam udapadi, the wisdom arose. Panya udapadi, again it becomes wisdom only. Jnana means knowledge, panya means wisdom. Aloko udapadi, it got lighted up, meaning now everything is clear to me. He did not say that, you know what, I invented this, I found it out. No, he said I rediscovered it, I discovered it. It was not there, but without any teacher. The question now comes, did you learn from a teacher? So then after his enlightenment, when he is going and the first person whom he meets, he asks, "You look so bright. Who is your teacher?" And Buddha gives a long thing to him. And he says, that's the reason I am the Buddha. And he just makes his head like this and he goes away. Right? It's there. It's not that it didn't happen. It's there. So the thing is, in the case of the Buddhas, there are no teachers. But that doesn't mean that the knowledge never existed and they brought it. No, they rediscover it. Whereas in the case of an Arhat, there is a teacher. Without the teacher, they cannot do it. So I and you and all of us can become an Arhat if you have a qualified teacher. But we can't do it by ourselves. Even with the Buddha teaching, we are not able to forget doing anything ourselves. So we are struggling because that penetration is not happening because our paramis are not there. In fact, Preeti, in the initial, she had asked me, is paramis a must? I said, no, for Sotapanna, for Sakadagami, all that is not required. Because you are learning from the Buddha teaching. If you want a Samma Sambuddha, then paramis are required. And the only parami what is required for getting into Sotapanna, is that you should have an inquisitive knowledge to learn about the Buddha teaching. That's all what is required. There's nothing else that is required. You should investigate. If you have that investigative vision, that's all is the requirement. Everything else is straightforward. So the cause and condition, the cause and effect, the cause and the condition. The cause is the parami. The condition, he's met all the paramis, all the 10 paramis. The result is he became Samma Sambuddha. In the case of Pacceka Buddha, he doesn't know, meaning he has paramis, but he cannot reflect back. The condition is, it just happens. Now the question comes, how it just happens? The ignorance wheel is removed, but he cannot teach anyone. In the Pacceka Buddha. In the Arhat, a teacher is required, and teacher removes the wheel of ignorance from the student, and then he becomes an Arhat. In the case of Anagami, he struggles even with the teacher, even with the teaching, he struggles and becomes an Anagami. In the Sakadagami, you need to really scrub that person, and there's so much of defilements, and then slowly it will go and he's big Sakadagami. And it comes of Sotapanna, it's even more worse. It's so thick, only little bit is opened up. That is sufficient for him to get onto the path. In the case of Puttujana, a normal person, completely blocked. This is how this whole thing goes. So there is always a cause and a condition and a result. So the cause is ignorance in the Puttujana. The cause in Arhat is that there is no avidya. There is mana in a Puttujana, there is the mana in Sakadagami, Sotapanna, there is a mana also in Anagami. So all the defilements in little by little exist, but it doesn't cause a problem. So that means the paramis is not there. It's not fully parami. It's little of everything. And you become an Arhat. And that's the reason in the case of Buddha, he was able to find it on his own. In our case, and not in this life. If we were to, we can become Arhat in this life, but we cannot become Samma Sambuddha in this life. Because we don't have that parami.
No, we cannot become Buddha because we know everything.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, I know when I remove the lobha or everything, then I cannot find it myself. forward because I get it now from Buddha.
Yes, absolutely.
How-
Yeah, it's already 10:10 p.m. here. So it's good questioning, Richard. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. You are a very good teacher. I didn't know that you know also Sanskrit and every such a thing.
Yes.
Only you can really good explain everything that time, and that's what I need. Because usually when I ask one monk who is unseen as a him, why my mind not corrected when he saw anatta? Why my mind not corrected? And comes all the time in the feeling of back. And he replied to me, not complete praxis, not complete result. But it can be, thus can I tell myself, I need a better. He should show me the instrument of that time. You know, only like that is not enough for me.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
So the even more detailed answer would be for that is, you're watching a TV, if it is got frozen and then you got that experience, there are out of 5 hindrances. You need to see which one is the one which is blocking it. You would find that restlessness would be the first thing. Then you would find that kamachanda would be the second thing. Then you would find that the vyapada would be the third thing. Then you'll find that thinamida, both of them would be the fourth thing. But no visikiccha, you don't have doubt. So you have only these 4 things. Now if you remove restlessness, you need to be in jhana. So you need to calm down and accept that at present you are not able to find anatta. It's okay. Then it calms down. Then you have to remove kamachanda. If you remove kamachanda, your 50% of job is done. So for removing kamachanda, you should do asubha bhavana. Then it automatically stops. Or you can do a meditation on skeleton, like your body is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So you can watch your 20-30 years back photographs and then now, and then meditate on that. Who was this and who is this, and how it is shrinking. It's going. So you get anicca. If you get anicca nature, anatta nature will automatically come. So either through anatta you can get anicca, or from anicca you can get anatta. So you can use this as a tool. So your kamachanda will go away. Then vyapada. You will not feel irritated. If you not feel irritated, again the shaking will stop. So then thinamida, you slightly procrastinate. What you want to do today, you will just say, I will do it later and all that. So you should say that, look, I don't know whether I'll be alive tomorrow. So I need to do it right now. And that will work for you. So if you practice like that, looking at what are the defilements you have, then it works. Meaning hindrances, these 5 hindrances you have to look at. Good news is that you don't have the 5th hindrance, that is the doubt. So it should work out for you, Richard, because you have experienced it. It will never go anywhere. It will come.
I still remember exactly how it was.
Yes, it will not go anywhere. So the only thing is that one of the hindrances is stopping it. You remove the hindrance, you have it. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to tell him
Owen.
What is your name?
Owen. Owen.
Oh,
Owen.
Oh,
yes.
I think when you drink green tea before the session, that you cannot ever be sleepy.
I found that caffeine has a quite negative effect on, like, it actually, like, it seems to get rid of tiredness, but actually creates like restlessness, and my mind enters fear more. Like, it's more fearful of things, like anxiety type of thing. So it's like a pro and a con. So like I get less tired, but then more. It's like I just shift the hindrances to like tiredness or restlessness, you know. But maybe green tea will have not too much caffeine, so maybe I'll try that.
Yeah, usually me when I want to not sleep and meditate, then I take two cups of green tea, and then I must not sleep. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Namo Buddhaya to all of you. Thank you.
Hello, Buddha.
Namo Buddhaya. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.